fans. You'll forgive me a little bit about my voice today. I've been coming off of the back end of probably the gnarliest cold I've ever had in my life. My throat has been swollen the size of a baseball for going on a week. But I'm going to try and hammer through this, get some stuff done. Today, I'm going to give us another little piece of Cyber City Dodge, and we're going to talk about the Cyber Steer Saloon, which is the predominant place to pick up your information in Dodge City for your fixers and for everybody else. It's kind of the more upscale, less seedy business end of Cyber City Dodge. See you guys on the other side. So, the Cyber Steer Saloon in a city that is filled with bars, because let's face it, Cyber City Dodge is kind of a way station in the middle of nowhere in the world of Cyberpunk 2077, at least in the world that I've envisioned for it. It essentially is Petrochem or Biotechnica's large animal stock development program, which uses a lot of land but not a lot of people. It is Continental Brands processing and warehouse and storage facility working in conjunction with that Biotechnica facility, which once again, large amount of area, large amount of buildings, not a lot of people. And it's what is essentially a mega truck stop that is the Mega Chew filling station, because it's really the last stop for any kind of fuel or rest or service for several hundred miles in either direction without having to go down into the free state of Texas. So if you want to stay in the United States, it's kind of a crossroads. Very important. So it's one of those places that has a permanent population of 12,000 people, 13,000 people, but normally has 60,000, 70,000 people in the area because of all the nomad operators that operate around it, because of the flights in and out, the driving in and out, the convoys and truckers going through, and people passing through for various other reasons. That may be noble, may be ignoble. So as a result, there's a lot of bars, a lot of comfort facilities in Dodge, a disproportionate number in Dodge City now. You have more hotels, bars, places to crash, restaurants than really the population would normally support, because you're feeding these truck drivers and businessmen, corpo execs and that sort of thing that are traveling through the town. And then, of course, you have a few other facilities that are there specifically for those corpo execs, predominantly Biotechnica and Continental Brands. So there's a lot of work and a lot of business that could span the entire country, could span the entire continent, going on across Dodge City, happening in these little saloons. And like any other place like this, you're going to have your dive bars where your seedier locals and your drug dealers and pimps and pushers are hanging out. And you're going to have your more refined places where your corpos are hiring, bringing in the elite of the elite for one reason or another and are talking to them there. And then you have places like the Cyber Steer Saloon. It's as much a crossroads as any other place in Cyber City Dodge, to the point that it almost runs on its own. The employees there, they show up and they work. Not for really any reason, just because they do. Nobody really knows who owns it, or if there is an owner, an operator. It's almost like there was a really good crew that started this place and started running it. Good bartenders, good managers, good barbacks, good hostesses. They had a good thing going. Ownership, top leadership, maybe they died. Who knows? They're gone. But everybody just kept continuing as if they were still there. They kept showing up, kept making schedules, kept working, kept peddling information. And it's just this weird kind of zombie bar that has continued to operate, and nobody really knows who's in charge. But what it has become at its core is this is where your fixers are, local and international. This is where people come to find what they're looking for. And it's almost a place where everybody has the understanding that trouble doesn't happen here. Locals don't let trouble happen between others. The staff doesn't let trouble happen between different parties here. And even a person who is not from the area coming through, a traveler passer through, gets that vibe of, in a world that is filled with violence and a disregard for the law and everything being about the self and right now and the immediate time, you got this bar where there's no signs of having there been a brawl or a bar fight. There's no scratches and scuffs on metal surfaces where errant bullet hit or a knife blow went astray, or where a borged out assassin slammed a solo into the bar and dented it or anything like that. There's none of that. It's pristine. Everything is in a position where it's like bad things don't happen here. Like violence does not happen inside this area. And it's evident from these tiny little details of how there's no evidence of repairs, there's no patchwork, there's no blood stains. Everybody in the bar behaves themselves. Even notoriously violent gangs or nomad groups, when they're in there, seem to be on their best behavior, even if they don't like it. So the Steer is the information hub for Cyber City when it comes to work. This is where you go and you hang out if you're a solo, if you're whatever you're trying to accomplish. If you're looking for work, there's usually fixers there. The bar itself is just a rectangular building. It's one large bar that is all tables, and it has a short bar on either side. So if you walk in, you swing in through the front, through the classic swinging saloon doors. On the right-hand wall, running down, is one bar. On the left-hand wall is another one running down, short L-shaped bar. Stock behind it, bartender ready to go. Back wall is lined up with several doors. And those doors are the old office, which is still just kind of maintained as where there's no boss there, but that's still where the safe is kept and where documents are kept and where information is kept for running the business. You have several VIP lounge sections, which are small square rooms that have a center table and have a U-shaped couch that goes around the back. So the door walks in, there's a U-shaped couch where everybody can sit around a table. Those all have a window facing out with a two-way mirror on them. Those, of course, are all set up specifically for the purpose of, hey, let's go back here and talk turkey, talk business, talk details after we've come to some agreements. And then, of course, there's the tap room, where it's just a big storeroom that has all your liquor bottles and smash and all your beer kegs and the apparatus to pipe them out to the taps and whatnot. And then a staging area to take trash out and a door out the back on the far right-hand corner wall. That's it. Simple as can be. It is a simple setup that is neat and clean. Tables aren't bolted to the floor. Chairs aren't bolted to the floor. None of the little things that would be just a commonplace thing in a bar in, say, Night City, where there's a fight every night, even at the nicer bars. Even if that fight just is somebody getting out of hand and a bouncer bouncing a skull off the table. At the Cyber Steer Saloon, that doesn't happen. So, just like Dodge City itself is a little piece of Americana out of the past that went backwards while the rest of the world went forward in a radical way, this bar is a little piece of peace. It is that perfect apple orchard and undamaged house in a bombed out landscape. It is a completely decimated world that has one apple tree that's left in it. It's that one little piece that's out of place that is the person who is whistling through the battlefield like he doesn't have a care in the world. That's the Cyber Steer Saloon. And inside, it's business. This is where you find your fixers. This is where you find your execs. This is where you find your jobs. And this is where people go to get known. So, tell me what you think. And remember that once I get to 500, I'm going to give away 5 copies of the Cyberpunk Red Core Rulebook. Good news is last I checked, Artel Saurian actually has real stock left, so now I can give physical books for those who would prefer. So, sign up, like, share, subscribe. Leave your comments below. Tell me what you think would be a neat addition to Cyber City Dodge. Tell me what you think about this this bar with no owner, this little piece of Twilight Zone in the middle of the cyberpunk world. I'll see you guys next time.